What's your biggest flex that you'll never tell anyone? Deaf person here, who wears hearing aids and relies heavily on lip reading. I get excited on the extremely rare occasions I can figure out a spoken phrase without any lip reading. It almost never happens. Or when I recognize a song I know. But there's no point in bragging, because other people will just think I'm not that deaf and make less of an effort to face me/speak clearly. Lol. I think I can kinda relate to this cause I stutter, and I feel extremely happy when I'm able to string together a sentence perfectly when I'm conversing with strangers over the phone. I was quoted on some literary website one time for something I said off the cuff in an argument. I also got to play a few shows with some of my favorite bands of all time. But I'm so far removed from that music scene now that no one I know would ever care about it except for me. I'm kinda in the same boat. I produce music for like 15 years, signed to 7 different labels, and have headlined shows. Noon I hang out with now has any idea. I was in the grocery store and saw an older woman standing in the aisle comparing what was in her cart to what was in her wallet, obviously counting to see if she could afford everything. Based on her body language as she walked away, I could tell that the answer was no. So I took a 20 out and walked up to her and said, "Ma'am, when you were over there just a second ago this fell out of your wallet." I handed her the bill and just walked away so she wouldn't be embarrassed if she figured out I was lying. I did hear her say thank you, so I half turned and told her you're welcome. Have a nice night. Apostrophe. It was only $20, but I think it made a difference to her, and that felt amazing. I bought some then relatively worthless Apple stock because I thought I'd be able to eBay the stock certificate with the rainbow Apple logo when the company went out of business. My investment guy just thinks I'm really clever. I've not corrected him. In my public speaking class I had to give a speech on procrastination. I wrote the speech an hour before class. In my feedback notes I was told I had great preparation. The expert. I raised $100. 000 for a scholarship fund in the memory of my deceased twin brother. Since that time we've given away over 200 scholarships. Me and my girlfriend created in the past a YouTube channel for kids, playing with toys using only our hands and voices. We had videos hitting 300k plus views, but we uploaded few videos, like 10 videos, because our priorities changed and we stopped. But we were still able to make several $100s from them. And the videos still generate some money today after many years. I think if we had continued with that, maybe we would be able to make a lot of money. I regret we didn't keep uploading more videos. Do you know that random, intuitive ideas you have sometimes? Pay attention to them. Your DP is smarter than yourself sometimes. I've been clean 6 months off heroin for the first time in 5 years. I never get bored. Ever. It's a useful superpower when I'm stuck in certain situations. I'm never interested. I have depression. 2. I won a YouTuber's writing competition. My story got seen by 100k people, which was cool. But all the other winners got a trip to VidCon for a live reading of their stories. I didn't because I don't have social media. Yes, I'm still salty about it. 7 years later. I dropped a fry from my mouth and slapped it to try and save it. It landed back in the box. I keep light up sketches under my bed to walk around the house at night. You genius. I intentionally don't step on ants just because they're cool. I don't remember when I started doing it. Possibly after I had my kid, but I avoid killing insects when I'm outside. I always think to myself, who am I to end this creature's existence for no reason other than I'm bigger, except for wasps. I hunt them down. Had a class where the professor was pissed that everyone did really bad on an essay and was yelling at the class. He said that aside from one person who got a 97%, he was disappointed with everyone there. I had a 97%. Similar thing happened to me in an English class junior year of high school. Assigned some book, maybe To Kill a Mockingbird? And I read it like 5 times before the exam. Teacher said that he curved it to the highest score and no one had ever gotten a 100% in all his years of having the test. Just before he started passing the tests back, he asked me how many times I read the book. I was shy and quite in high school, so having every eye on me sucked. But anyways, he said he was impressed, and I ended up getting extra credit on it because he curved it to the next highest score. Woman in my office had a fairly long piece of TP attached to her shoe, and I stepped on it and attached it from her shoe. I felt like a superhero. I still feel like a superhero about it. Bless people like you. I once had a server purposefully drop something next to our table, just so she could have an excuse to bend over and grab the toilet paper off of my shoe. I still think about her from time to time. One time I was taking an order at a table back in the day at Chili's. The woman on the end kind of jostled her purse and something fell out. Without thinking or looking, I bent to pick it up for her. Looked at the object as I handed it to her. It was a dildo. I saw Elton John in Vegas. Red Piano Tour. During Benny and the Jets, I can whistle extremely loudly. I nailed the whistle part that is on live version of the song that plays on the radio. He smiled. At one point I could sing along perfectly to We Didn't Start the Fire. I still know most of the words, but I'm always so embarrassed to sing in front of other people, lol. I lived with my grandparents my whole life, who lived in a small little house across the street from a big fancy neighborhood development. They lived in the same house for 40 years before the development. It was a very bad hill on a busy road with the neighborhood entrance at the bottom of the hill, which was across the street from our house. Me and my grandpa would pull people out of wrecks all the time. Saved a bunch of lives, but sadly saw over 10 people die on that hill growing up. The big fancy people in that neighborhood would always bring us food and gifts. They called my grandpa the gatekeeper. When I was 15, I won a scholarship to study ballet in Russia. It was amazing. Paid off 40k in net during quarantine due to no more daycare costs for 3 kids and better paying job for the wife. Also dropped body fat from 14% to 7% using my ghetto ass home gym while everyone was complaining about the quarantine. 15. Went from having one family meal a week to almost daily. I don't tell anyone this obviously, because there are people going through tough times, especially family and close friends, and I can empathize with that as it hasn't been completely smooth and there were some stressful moments. But I'm proud of what my wife and I were able to do in a relatively short amount of time. But haven't shared any of this at the risk of alienating anyone. I have a no gag reflex. This will go to my grave. Married man with 3 kids. How did you find out? It was just a phase. We don't talk about that. I'm on level 4,000 in Candy Crush. I saw a lizard in the middle of a busy road. I bent down on the side of the road and called for it as I put my hands out, and he ran straight into my arms. I carried him to safety and didn't think anything of it until I heard a stranger behind me go, "Did y'all see that shit?" She's a lizard whisperer. Man, I wish there was another witness because I bet I looked cool. I got accepted into Mensa and then immediately realized I don't want to hang out with the type of people who join Mensa, so I never went through with it. I'm too embarrassed to tell anyone I took the test. I should have put a serious tag on this. My debit card went through for a really large amount and the lady behind the counter had been being so smug and irritating for so long. And then she tried to deny my card because it wouldn't go through for that amount, and I asked her to just please try it. The look on her face when it went through was so satisfying. May I never make that larger purchase again. My coworkers don't know I was severely abused as a child, became a raging drug user and alcoholic, and moved out at age 17. Somehow went to college and have an extremely respectable job where I look normal, or at least I think I look passable. I have a ton of money. I've always worked whatever jobs, restaurant server, retail, etc. Boring kinda wage slave stuff. My living expenses are low. Studio apartment and just pretty minimal spending. I live a comfortable life, just as anyone would with my paychecks. But I got into investing and cryptocurrency online about 8 years ago and just got lucky. Spread out among multiple investments and at almost $8 mil. Literally just kinda threw some extra money at stuff in the first couple years and was able to make really good returns. I live the same life I always did. Almost doesn't feel like I earned this money at all. No one knows. Parents, family, friends. I don't want anyone I care about to change their perspective of me because I have this money. Still working a simple job and living in the same studio. I'm comfortable and happy outside of the money. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.